Goes down deep in the middle of the field. Rod Smith's got it. Here we go. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Rod Smith, Denver touchdown. Inside the 10. Head first. He's high. Oh, my God. Line. Wanted that first down.
And I tell you what, if you want to tell me the 37-year-old man that's going to win this game.
The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. This time is in the left stick. To the 30, to the 20. To the 10. And the pocket is good. Ball's knocked out of his hands. It bounces around. And I think Denver's got it. Von Miller again. Wilson fires. Touchdown. Sutton. His second of the day.
Well, hello everybody, and thank you for joining the Denver Broncos Roundup. It's Tuesday. Thank you, Broncos Country, for joining me. And of course, we got Jody Moncrief, we got Albert Knoppers. It's the Denver Bronco Roundup. How we doing, guys? Welcome in.
Welcome.
Welcome. Good to be here.
Yep. We got all the Broncos Country out there. We've got a ton of stuff to get to today. I know we're going to be all kind of chomping on the bit, but how's everybody doing, man? How's your week been? Albert, how's your week been, man?
It's been very busy. Busy with work and that stuff, and following, of course, the Broncos. But
Yep.
the biggest thing that we have is, of course, today's day, and that was very exciting.
Yeah, today, which we'll get to today, man. You're jumping a couple of places down the list already, man. Albert's already trying to get to the 53-man roster. He's already trying to set our practice squad. You name it, but we'll get to all that. I promise. I agree. Everyone's been working. It's already got the week started. He's already got Monday in the books. It's been a long week, probably last week as well, but we're working through it, and we got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. Jody, how are you doing, sir?
Doing good. Busy.
Your week.
Busy with work. Busy following the Broncos. Some exciting stuff happened today.
Yeah, man, it's funny. A lot of times we get in here and we're sitting there, we get in our banter and we're talking about the weather. We're talking about, what's been going on, the whole 9 yards. But today we're all excited to get to things. I guess I shouldn't even allow you guys to, be pent up much longer here. So I just want to, again, we're going to get into a lot of stuff. We had the final preseason game. We had roster cuts happening today. And listeners, if you want to stay on top of all of this as it happens, look no further than the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. The Rocky Mountain Sports Network will keep you informed on all the breaking news and all your favorite Colorado teams, along with the NCAA action as well. Make sure you like, follow, share the Rocky Mountain Sports Network today. Well, guys, let's hit the final preseason game. I know we want to all get into roster cuts. We welcomed in the Minnesota Vikings into town and looked to get it right in a few different areas. We weren't looking all that great after game 2. Fine-tune maybe some players, give guys a few more shots to make that last impressions for the Broncos team. Maybe even for some of those other teams that are around the league as well, as we're kind of talking about practice squads and what's going to be happening for 53s as well. Let's start with you, Albert. What did you see in that preseason game that you liked? Give me your thoughts, man.
It was a night and day difference between last game and the week before that. And what I really enjoyed was they were hitting hard. Tackles were hard and ferocious, especially the one tackle on the running back. Even although they scored a touchdown, but I'm glad I was not a person on the receiving end.
Right? It's one thing to be playing that maybe in the little league levels, but the NFL hits, man, they come hard, man. So number one thing for you had to be the hits. Jody, what say you? What did you like about this preseason game? What did you think they got right, or what players?
They finally got the run game going. That was one thing the first 2 games they could not find the run game, and they finally were able to get some big runs. Mike Boone looked like if he needs to step in, he can be a solid back for us. So, I think that was the big thing right there, the run game.
I almost forgot my mic there. I'm going to go 100% with Jody as well. I spoke about it on our last show. Jody, you were out. Me and Albert were you had the reins here at the Denver Broncos Roundup, and one of the things I said is, I don't care what it is, these guys have got to be able to run the ball. They got to be able to get downhill. They got to be able to block somehow. That was the one thing that I was hoping to see, and like you guys had mentioned, right out of the gates, that's exactly what we saw. We saw this running game kind of come to life. We saw Mike Boone come to life. Man, this running game was, as Albert was saying, a night and day difference compared to what we saw. So we definitely saw the team look more engaged. They looked more in sync. We had some impressive performances, on both sides of the ball, both offense and defense. I say to you, Jody, who impressed you the most in that preseason game, though?
I think on the defensive side, McTelvin McGee, him and Nick Benito, they both balled out. Nick Benito had back-to-back sacks, a strip. He was finally come to life in that game. Same with McGee. They both balled out that game.
Albert, I almost lost my mic again, so it's you, man. Tell me who did you see that you liked, man?
So, I think he is going to be one of my favorites of the entire draft of this year, Henningsen. He has improved a lot since the second game and the third game. He was working with double teams. So yeah, I think he should earn jersey number 95, and he will do Derek Wolf honor. Seth Williams was good in my opinion. He had several great catches, and KJ Hamler was way too fast for Ripon. The couple balls that he got all addressed behind him. Hamler is just. Those were some of my highlights that I really enjoyed.
All right, Broncos fans, Denver Bronco Roundup fans, feel free to chime in with any of your ideas as well. Obviously, I'll kind of mimic a lot of what you guys said because you pointed out some of the good ones. Obviously, Ajim came out there. He was looking fantastic. Nick Benito finally looked like he was able to set that edge. I made fun of Jody a couple of weeks ago. I think I'll maybe make fun of Albert a little bit too. You've got a huge drum for Matt Henningsen that you've been beating. I'll tell you what, Albert's all over this guy. So remember, when this guy becomes a key piece of the Denver Broncos, pushing us down the stretch, getting us into the playoffs, it was Albert who started beating that drum right off the bat, man. I'll tell you what. I'm going to also say, again, Mike Boone. I was a little bit worried about that third spot that was kind of sitting behind. We finally saw that running game. That's the one guy that I kind of saw, again, kind of show out. And he seemed like he was playing at a little bit different level, a little bit different urgency, making a couple more moves. For me, again, it was the Mike Boone I'd really hoped to see the Denver Broncos sign originally. And it seems like he's had setback after setback. And then, again, even through the first couple of preseason games, was not really the Mike Boone I'd hoped to see. He really broke out in that game 3. For me, that was the guy who kind of made. I wouldn't say that's the guy in addition to who you guys said that really kind of made that leap as well. I would also say good call out on KJ Hamler. It was just a week or so ago. This guy was basically in a brace. We didn't know if he was going to be able to really get on the field, how productive he was going to be. Good call out there as well as KJ Hamler ended up getting out there and being, like you said, too fast for Ripon.
It was nice to see him take that big hit and get right back up.
Yep.
100%. 100%, yeah.
And about Boone, if Boone had not worked out, I saw 2 other running backs, Hardy and Zingbo. They did equally as excellent. So
yeah.
I was not too worried about the running back in our case.
I'll be 100%. I wasn't as high maybe on Hardy as you were, but Zigbo, for the amount of time that he came in and the way he was able to assimilate with this offense, he was looking pretty dang good. Thought he even maybe had a chance at a special team spot. Again, we don't know what that practice squad will look like. Maybe he has a position there as well. boy, anything else from that Well, hey, I just got to say this, guys. I don't know about you. I'm sure Broncos. There's some of Broncos country that's got to agree with me on this one, but I 100% felt like this was a game that was necessary to get that 23-13 win, because after that loss that we had, man, I tell you what, I did not like the feel. I did not like the way that the Broncos looked on the field. I thought they needed a 100% reset, and this 23-13 kind of set them on the right track, I think, heading into this first game. What say you? Either one of you guys?
Oh, I agree. Brandon McManus also looked very sharp. Made some field goals in that game. I don't think he's missed one in preseason yet that counted.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, I mean, he's looked up to form so far, so hopefully he continues that.
So, and one of the biggest things that I saw, and we didn't see it on the field, was afterwards in the locker room, the celebration speech of Hackett. That was phenomenal. It's so much energy, so much. Yeah, it was just phenomenal. Have you seen it?
It's one thing that I didn't see, Albert. You might have to paraphrase a little bit for me and the rest of the audience. What was the best parts about this post-game speech that he had? What got the troops rallied?
He didn't leave anyone out. So everyone who performed really well, some of them he named by name or by line, but everybody got the thumbs up. There was no negativity anywhere. And Hamler especially, he was the first one that got praised by Hackett, and it was just phenomenal. I haven't seen a locker room speech like that in a long time.
I'll have to go back and check that out. Albert, I'll be honest, your internet seems like it's a little bit slow to me. I don't know if that's just me. Joey, I don't know if you would agree with that. It just seemed a little bit choppy. I want to make sure it's not my end as well. So
I can hear both of you.
If that happens to be the case. But we'll keep on rolling.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't notice anything?
No,
Very good, man. Just me. I'm sorry, man. Sorry to take that pause, to take that break. All right, man. Good.
No worries.
Few Facebook comments coming in. Sup, y'all? Well, sup, all. What's up to you too, man? Love this show. Let's go, man. Well, thank you very much, man. Appreciate Facebook user. By the way, there is a StreamYard little link that says, hey, let us use your name. If you don't want to do that, or if you forgot to, just drop your name in the comments. And hey, right off the bat, it's Adam. Well, thank you, Adam, and thanks for loving the show. Thanks for being here on a Tuesday with us, and look forward to some of your comments that'll be coming in here shortly. So, all right, guys, we go from, unless you have anything more on that 53 game, that Vikings game, we're gonna go from that game on Saturday to the cuts that came in today, settling on that 53-man roster. But before we get to the cuts, I want to talk to you about a seasonings company that is a cut above the rest. You guys know who it is. It's Willow Seasonings and Blends. It's a Colorado-based business. It's a veteran-owned barbecue seasonings and sauce business. I've told you about the ribs, the steaks, the burgers I made using their amazing seasoning. But again, I'll be honest, the only way you're going to know is if you try them out yourself. It's the easiest way to do that. Just go over to willowseasonings.com. I promise you will not be disappointed. That's willowseasonings.com. Get a little extra 15% off your purchase with promo code NEW15, NEW15. That's NEW15 at willowseasonings.com. Drop the Denver Bronco Roundup into the comments, because we love you just like you love us, and that helps us out as well. So, guys, as Melvin Gordon tweeted out yesterday, I hate this time of year. This is a tough time of year. Veterans to hopefuls, they all get their plans rerouted, rearranged, adjusted as the teams go from that 80 to the 53. I guess the best way to start, I think the biggest thing that kind of started right off the bat, the trade that kind of came through with Malik Reed to the Steelers. I want to get thoughts on that. Albert, I'll start off with you. What were your thoughts on Malik Reed to the Steelers? Malik Reed in officially a seventh for the Steelers' 6th round pick. What say you?
So this is where Patton comes in. He said last year, before the trade with Wilson, that he would get us picks for next year, and he is promising. So that is a really good thing. He's worth to mouth, and he's doing what he says is to do. I think it is a good trade. We have 5 rushes already that are at his level or above his level. So I think we had a really good deal for it.
All right, man. Don't know if I'm going to agree with you 100%, but we're going to get to Jody next, man. Malik Reed in a 7th for a Steelers 6th. What do you think, bud?
I thought he was going to get traded the whole time. I was hoping they'd get a little more value than a 6. I mean, trading a 6 for a 7. But, I mean, he just got caught up in the numbers game. You got Baron Browning, who is, in the games he's played, he's shown that he can be an elite pass rusher. And you still have Cooper. You've got the rookie Benito. It was just a numbers game. I mean, you got 5 pass rushers right there, not counting Chubb and Gregory. So, for me, it was just a numbers game. I wish they'd have got a little more from him. And something that no one wants to bring up, he didn't play special teams. So I think you're going to see him on special teams a little bit more. And, I mean, that doesn't sound sexy, but special teams is important.
I like that, man. It doesn't sound sexy, but special teams is important. 100% right. Like I said, if anybody was catching some of our Rocky Mountain Sports Network shows last year covering the Broncos, special teams was a big angst for us. Want to get to a few comments we got coming in. We got Alex Romero says, "Hey, from Utah, who is the biggest surprise on the roster cuts from today?" We'll get to that in a second, Alex, but thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you joining from Utah, from Colorado, from
I just want to let Alex know Utah is very overrated.
Oh,
that's
man.
That's an inside joke.
Oh, jeez, man. Holy cow. Mr. Sips coming in saying, "Good evening, men." Well, good evening, Sess. And let's see, we got Adam coming in. It says, "It made too much sense since we had depth at the position. Give him a chance to shine more." And obviously talking about that Malik Reed trade that happened today that we're talking about right now. And I'm just in agreement with you guys. It was a numbers game. We have guys on the roster. I expected it as even a training camp came in. Honestly, the way I look at it, Malik Reed in a 7th for the Steelers 6th, we really got about a 6.5 round draft pick out of this man. And for me, I just thought he was worth a little bit more. Honestly, as training camp came about, I thought he might be worth upwards of a 4th, maybe a 5th, just standalone by himself. But market didn't play out. In my opinion, I think George Payton was trying to get ahead of the game as the market floods with all these free agents. You know, all of a sudden you get no value and you have to cut these guys. So, you know, getting something rather than nothing, probably the best option as far as that's concerned.
And something that doesn't get brought up is I don't think he was going to be back after this year anyway. So, I mean, you need to get something while you can, or you're going to lose it completely and get nothing.
100%, man. 100%. Good point. You know, this was not a long-term guy within our system. You know, if you even just look at some of the guys we brought in, the free agents that we brought in, the draft picks that we used, the contracts that we have out there, Malik Reed did not look like a guy who was in the future beyond this year, even if he was brought back. Alex saying, "I believe we could have got more in return from Malik Reed, maybe a 4 or a 5. Hey, he's right on line with what my thoughts were as well, but I have a feeling, quite honestly, George Payton, I do have faith in him. I don't think he's leaving a whole lot on the table. I think he's making sound decisions. Albert, I see you nodding your head. You agree?
So, yeah, and from what I've seen in the preseason games, only in the last one, Malik Reed was very well. Played pretty decent. The other 2, he wasn't there. He didn't show up. I didn't see him that much. But if he got a 6 for it, I'm already happy with a 6.
Yeah, agreed. It's hopefully the Steelers are woeful, and it's a fantastic 6th-round pick to begin with. Especially if we're giving up a 7th, and we're going to be still fantastic, right, boys?
Now, I heard a crazy stat today from the guys that didn't like the trade. Was in his last 2 years, he's had more sacks than Randy Gregory in his whole career.
Okay. Yeah, upside, baby, upside. Well,
right.
Alex, it's about time to get to your part of your question as we get to our part of the show. We set our 53-man roster. Me, Jody, Albert. I know I set mine. Albert, I think you set yours really early. I know I set my 53-man roster right after that final preseason game, but we all got it in before any cut, trade, release, anything like that happened, anything like we've seen over the last 2 days. So I think I'm going to start over with Jody. Jody, your biggest surprise that came off, especially as Alex said, your biggest surprise on the roster cuts, especially when we compare it to your 53-man roster. What was your surprise?
I would say probably Nayati Moody. I was high on him in the preseason and OTAs. I think the injury really derailed him. And then it was a numbers game too. I don't think that they're not 100% confident in Calvin Anderson, and I don't think Billy Turner's 100% LTS. So it was a numbers game. You needed depth at right tackle, and that's where Cam Fleming fit in.
Yeah, speaking like a true GM, just making it all about the numbers. It's a true numbers game. But I have to agree. Albert.
For me, it was the amount of defensive linemen that they let go. One, I can see, but two, we were already not very strong in that department, and now, but I think there is a reason for it, and I think Patton has a surprise for us in store.
Who would you have kept on if it were you, Albert?
I would have kept either one of them. I would not have let them go. They are about the same level of playing, but letting two go, that was a little bit too much for me.
Very good, very good.
So a little insider on that. I guess Purcell, he'll be back tomorrow. They had to. You got to keep a player on the 53 before you can put him on IR if you're going to bring him back during the season, which is what they're going to do with Darby and Greg Dulcich. So Purcell's should be back. Ojemudia, sorry. So Purcell should be back tomorrow. Or that's what Peyton said. Purcell and Tomlinson, the tight end.
Eric Tomlinson and Purcell scheduled to come back tomorrow. And those guys are in that vet system again, where they have the option of coming back and signing back with us rather than
they can skip the waiver process. Correct.
They don't end up being part of that waiver process. So as long as those guys are in agreement with our contract and do want to come back to our team, then. Sounds like, and I knew I had heard something about Purcell. I didn't realize that. Who was the other player that you mentioned, Jody?
Tomlinson.
Oh, Eric Tomlinson, tight end. Okay, I didn't realize he was out there as well. So,
that was reported from Mike Kliss. So,
so kind of up and down as far as Mike Kliss is concerned. Usually pretty good source, but. Hasn't been 100% on all the time, so but I expect that to be true. It sounds about right. For me, I think the one that kind of surprised me was just that whole wide receiver, Tyree Cleveland and Jalen Virgil making it. I really thought Kendall Hinton really had a chance to make this team. The way he looked early in the preseason games, the way he kind of looked in camp. Kind of the veteran leadership that maybe he brought to this team. I thought he had a good chance of making this roster. That was, for me, probably one of the more surprising cuts. I could obviously go to McTelvin Ajim as well. As we kind of mentioned, I was surprised at that, but at the same time, a guy just that kind of peaked and trended at the wrong time. So, but just staying on track, Kendall Hinton, obviously a player that was really willing to do anything for this team. It didn't matter if he was going to be a quarterback, if he was going to be a kick returner, if he was going to be a wide receiver. I hope he gets a great opportunity someplace else. That's not a guy I've heard mentioned coming back. Have you guys, gentlemen?
It surprised me that they didn't put him, got a pick for him, that they traded him some way. And I had, since we started the training, I thought that Kendall Hinton would be either released or traded. So it was not a big surprise for me. Seth Williams, though, that is a surprise for me. Because he was, I think he was one of the better wide receivers in the preseason games. But that was a little bit of a surprise for me.
Yeah,
I'll have to second that. I thought Seth Williams, I had him making my 53. But when I broke down the roster a little more, I mean, if you kept Kendall Hinton, you had 3 small wide receivers with Hinton, Montel Washington, and KJ Hamler. And I think that's why I don't think they wanted to carry 3 smaller guys like that. I think that's what was one of the main reasons why he got let go.
Yeah, you can go small, you can go big. It's I guess that's it's one of the reasons I thought they might stay with Kendall Hinton. Brandon Johnson, I know, is a guy that they're high on, and he should be coming back off a IR, but they did not designate him to the 53, did they? No, they did not. So, Tyree Cleveland and Jalen Virgil, obviously, speed is obviously a factor as well. I think that's one of the things that I see come out of this with KJ Hamler, Jalen Virgil, Montrell Washington. They want to get some speed on this field. And kind of going back to that Vikings preseason game, I was kind of surprised they were pulling out all the stops with a reverse in order to get some yardage as well. Kind of showing off a little of the playbook and making sure they got the win, I think. But it kind of does show the speed that this roster might have. Any others? Oh, go ahead, man.
Wouldn't it be funny if we see Hamler, Montrell, and Virgil lining up with Sutton or Judy, and then have Pookie in the backfield? Who are you going to defend?
That's a mean lineup, man. It's one of the things I've talked about for years is just kind of this old Gary Kubiak offense that we were kind of set in. It was very predictable type of offense. You could really see it. You had to be really good with your timing, really good with your throws in order to make it work, i.e. Peyton Manning did really well with it. I think in the Vic Fangio years, we just kind of ground through whatever type of offensive system we were in, but really trying to make it just a defensive game. I've been waiting since Patrick Mahomes got drafted to the Kansas City Chiefs for this offense to open up a little bit, be a little bit more exciting, be a little more unpredictable. I think that's where this NFL is going in general, and it seemed like the Denver Broncos had been behind the 8 ball on that. Jody, you kind of excited to see what we got going on here, buddy?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, we've had, 3 years of Vic Fangio or whatever it was of not even trying to score or do anything on offense. So,
yep. Any other surprises anybody have?
Tyree Cleveland a little bit. I mean, they obviously value 100% what he brings to special teams. Because he didn't play at all in this. He didn't play at all in the preseason, and I mean, he made the 53. So they really must value what he brings on the special teams.
And I think that Tyree did really well in the training camp and stuff, and then he got injured in training camp. Wasn't it in training camp? And
the throat injury.
Yeah, the throat injury. I think that's where he proved his skill in training camp.
But it is one thing that I do like. I mean, they are taking special teams important this year. I mean, last year was obvious that they didn't really care about it. It was just whatever the D can do. That's all that mattered. So I mean, that's an important part of the field. I mean, you can flip the field easily with punts and making sound tackles and just smart decisions. we haven't seen in the last couple of years.
Special teams coach has been very passionate as well. He's talked. He's got up there during press days, and he said he wants to he wants the best guys. He's going to fight for guys. You know, he was the only coach that would not allow music. He said maybe year 2 or year 3, but I need to get these guys in line. They need to be get straight. Kind of going Vic Fangio on those players, but at the same time, kind of set a precedent of how important he thought the special teams was and is, and probably wanted those players to feel the exact same way. Adam just kind of coming in as well, saying Peyton is a smart guy and it will come back tenfold. So I guess have faith in those Malik Reed trades is I guess what Adam's trying to say. He's glad to see Johnson go and give Rippy the shot he deserves. So yeah, I guess we should get back to QB2. We talked a lot about it in the preseason game 1 and game 2. I guess why don't we start off with Albert? Albert, what do you think about Johnson getting let go, Rippon given a chance to rip it here as QB2?
I think that Rippon, even though he had a couple hiccups with misplaced balls, but I think in general Rippon did a pretty decent job at the last game. And Johnson, yeah, it was a so-so performance from Johnson from what I saw. I think there might be a surprise coming up, and that Rippon might still go to practice squad, but I think Peyton has something in plan, and I think he will follow through with it.
Yeah, a lot of rumors floating around whether that QB room is finished. It'll be interesting to see who they might add if they decide to bring in somebody else and put Rippon to a QB3 and/or practice squad. Jody, what were your thoughts around Johnson, Rippon, and maybe the potential of bringing in that free agent?
I think the battle was pretty close. You could have went either way. I think the main reason they kept Rippon was they didn't think he was going to clear waivers. I mean, they had teams coming after him last year. That's why they kept 3 quarterbacks on the 50-30. Johnson, he doesn't have to go through waivers. They can sign him tomorrow and put him on practice squad if they want. And I think that was the main reason right there.
Well, that would make me feel a little bit better about that decision. I'm going to call it, geez, I'm going to have to get you like a nickname, Jody. You're going to have to be like the GM, man, or the,
GM.
You know, something, man. You got all this like nailed down. For me, I was a little bit disappointed. Quite honestly, I didn't like what I saw from Brett Rippon during training camp when I was there watching it all live. I didn't see anything that obviously stood out in the first couple of games. He did end up coming back and putting together a fairly decent performance in this third game, but at the same time, I mean, I take that back. He looked pretty good in game 2, but in this third game, I mean, he led that first drive, but he stared right down that only receiver and really attempted that quarterback to jump the route and deflect that pass, which should have been a touchdown, ended up being an interception instead. I really thought that Josh Johnson kind of just fits this scheme a little bit better. Again, this is going to be really predicated on some play action pass and allowing that quarterback to kind of roll out, maybe even scramble at times, maybe in some designed runs. And I just thought Josh Johnson fits that a little bit better than Rippon does. Maybe we do have that possibility of bringing Josh Johnson back. The 16 man, we only got 16 guys on that practice squad, so it'll be interesting how it fills up. But I just see it as an end for Josh Johnson and what could have been a pretty good fit. So for me, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed. Adam's coming in with some I don't know if these are jokes or some real solutions, but Josh Rosen maybe, I don't know. I don't know anybody got an idea for this free agent QB who could be coming in. Albert, you brought it up. I'll give you the floor if you have any ideas. I'll be honest, I'm kind of in the dark. I'm drawing a blank.
See, there were some rumors, and I'm not sure if they do it, but if the Niners let Garoppolo go, I would get him in a heartbeat. He would fit the scheme like a glove.
Yeah, but they just signed him.
Yeah, so I didn't see that one yet.
Oh,
so.
sorry. Break the news. Yeah, they end up signing him, keeping him as a backup. He took a little bit of a deal to get back in with the 49ers. So, yeah, Jody, any ideas? Any place that you think we'd bring in somebody? Who that name might be?
Who, Josh Rosen? I'll pass on Josh Rosen.
Well, thank you. Even though at one point I thought he was going to be the next Alex Smith, yeah, Josh Rosen is a pass these days. Thank you.
I'm happy with Brett Rippon. From all accounts, they say he's got coaching in his future, and I think that's one of the reasons he's an X and O's guy, and I think they love him in the locker room. I think that's one of the big reasons they kept him.
Yeah.
Is Kyle Sloter still available?
I think he did end up getting released. He was one of the first releases that was out there. I want to say last week or something like that. He was actually released. So
now, a position for me that I think is that they need to address still is cornerback. You kept 6. Michael O is going to IR tomorrow. That leaves you with 5, and that's an injury-prone Ronald Darby and K'Wan Williams, and then you got St. Basby, and the rookie Ronald Darby. He's okay, but I mean, you're gonna have to. I think they need to address that position.
I only had you on the small screen. Could you give me your assessment of Asang Bassi one more time?
He's just.
I believe it's.
I don't. I'm not saying he's bad or good. I just don't. That is a position that if you don't have to have. I seen him a couple of years ago on the field, and it was, just okay. They're really banking on that their first 3 corners stay healthy the whole year.
I'll agree with that. Obviously not a deep room, not a room with a whole lot of names that you're jumping up and down about. Damari Mathis has been kind of up and down. He's a rookie corner. You know what I mean? It's going to be tough to press him into service and make sure that you get that reliability that you're looking for in that position. I thought Asang Bassi played pretty decently from time to time, but I'll give you that he's not going to be anything that lights up the field or shuts down, a receiver all game long. This is a room that could be added to. Any names in particular that you have in mind there, Jody?
Not really. Not
just waiting for that waiver wire like all the rest of us.
I haven't really dived into yet. I've been kind of on the Chris Harris bandwagon, but they have not really made the phone call or anything. So
no. I thought you were onto something, I'll be honest, though, because there was some social media out there with him kind of hanging around for a little bit. So a few Broncos players, and I was like, wait, is something happening here? Is he telling the truth? I thought he might have something. Albert, any room that you see that needs some help, or any places that you want to see the Broncos kind of maybe focus on as these waivers or these releases happen, I should say?
There are a couple places. Of course, right tackle. We are not very steady at right tackle. We don't know if Billy Turner is going to be playing the first week or not, or if he has when he plays, he get injured again. We don't have much depth in there. And then, of course, our defensive line, and this one intrigues me a little bit. From the Giants, Jason Pierre-Paul. I know he is old. He is 33, and we probably would get him for the cheap, but he's still playing at a decent to a good level. And last season he played 16 games, so very intriguing person for me.
Yeah, like you said, intriguing name to keep an eye on. Danny Kitchen chiming in on Facebook here also has a name for maybe the quarterback room. I know that Albert was a little bit more intrigued about maybe bringing a name in, so how about Mond, recently cut from from the Vikings. What was he? 4th round pick 2 years ago, if I remember correctly, or 3rd round pick?
Yeah,
3rd
Texas
round.
A&M.
Yeah, Texas A&M. Are you familiar with Mond?
I'm not familiar with Mon, but Patton sure is.
He sure would be. He sure would be. Jody, how about you? Any thoughts around Mond?
I don't think they need to bring him in for as high as his draft pick as he was a couple of years ago. Why? I mean, they brought in Nick Mullins for the backup. I mean, that's a little.
Yeah,
What's
when you
that tell
sign
you?
Nick Mullins and let Mon go, I guess that's not a
Nick
very
Mullins
good
a
sign.
week
as well.
before. You're right.
Yep. I'll be honest, I loved Mon coming out of college. Thought he really had some unique skill set. Thought he might be able to translate into the NFL. Never thought that Mike Zimmer really gave him an opportunity. And beyond that, when he finally did get his opportunity this year, did not look that good. I'll be honest, Danny, I don't know if I have a third name. I thought that they were only going to keep 2 as well. So I'm kind of on that Jody Moncrief kind of mindset, just rolling with the 2. I just wish it would have been Josh Johnson rather than Brett Rippon. I think that we had a stronger backup. If knock on wood, Russell Wilson goes down. I just like the way he fit into this offense. Didn't feel like just a game manager, but someone who could maybe go out there and win some games for us. So, boy, guys, we're about.
Let's hope that we don't have to. I mean, Russell Wilson's missed 3 games in his whole career, so let's hope that whoever's the backup, we don't get to see play.
Yeah, exactly right. Obviously, that is the case. Unfortunately, the one time we did see him miss some game was just last year. So, remains to be seen. Don't get me wrong. At least it was a finger injury. It's not like, hey, this guy blew out his knee or his hamstring or an elbow or something to that effect. I know it is a finger, and it needs to heal and heal properly, but by all accounts, I haven't heard anybody talk about that. So I think we're beyond that, and it's nothing that should really affect his performance going forward. Boy, going to get tongue-tied with a few words tonight, boys. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. So, boy, anything else when it came to cuts, the roster? You guys got anything else that you want to add in before we jump off this subject at all?
Yeah.
No, I was pretty happy with what they kept. I think they're a little tight end heavy. I think 5 is a little too much, but I mean, Dulcich is hurt. He's going to be on IR for 4 weeks.
With Tomlinson coming back. Gotcha.
With Tomlinson coming back, I mean, you got 4, and Russell Wilson's never been a feed your tight end, so
yeah. I'll be honest. Before when the original 53 came out, there was no Tomlinson coming back. I thought that made sense. I was right there with you. Alberto, Dulcich, Beck, and Saubert is kind of what I thought we needed. Kind of gave us a full back and a couple of guys if we needed it, and gave us the tight ends that we needed in both blocking and receiving as well. So. For me, I'll just jump in really quick, was really I had him keeping Moody in that offensive line room just because of, as you said, Jody, the injuries that we have kind of in that room. We're still waiting for Billy Turner to come back, and once he comes back, maybe that kind of solidifies things. But the way I looked at it, really, I don't know who's. You got Quinn Miners playing right guard. Who is backing up Quinn Miners at right guard, in your opinion? Either one of you feel free to jump in. I don't know who it is right off.
Graham Glasgow.
Okay, who's backing up Dalton Reisner at left guard?
Graham Glasgow.
Oh, he's just all over the place, man. Hopefully neither one of these guys go down, because if Reisner or Miners goes down, then we're really hurting. I really thought.
Then I think you're back. Then I think you're down to Wattenberg.
Yeah,
you get some play there. I think it just came down to
bringing in Calvin Anderson and
right.
letting Billy Turner move around. I mean, you're playing games. I really thought Moody needed to be there, but again, I just think we're thin. Go ahead, Jody. You were making a point there.
If Calvin Anderson or if Billy Turner is not healthy, and he doesn't play week 1, they had to do something. You got to have a backup right tackle with Anderson.
Yeah.
So that I think that's why this decision was made. If Moody can clear waivers, I think you bring him back.
Okay.
If Calvin Anderson gets healthy, or if Turner gets healthy, then you could possibly see the other backup left right tackle Fleming gone and Moody brought back. And they still have Tom Compton that's on PUP that's going to come back at some point. Where does he fit in?
That's true.
Who can
This is
play
true.
all the positions on the line? So
And who knows? They might pick one up tomorrow in the waivers.
Yeah, that's true. I just, Moody was playing well. I thought he played well enough. He'd been in the system. He was learning the system. It seemed like that's how these guys were trending. We would bring guys in like Schobert, and they wouldn't last. We'd bring in, even another name that got cut from the wide receiver room that a lot of people thought were doing really well, and Darius Shepard. At one point had really high marks, and a lot of people thought highly of him. Brought in, let go. It just seemed like this coaching staff, this GM, at least the mindset of where these guys were going was they're kind of sticking with their guys. So I really thought Moody had a chance to make it, and especially given that offensive line. I was also, though he played really well, I didn't have them holding 6 in that those outside linebacker positions and keeping Jonathan Cooper. I had Jonathan Cooper not on my roster. I don't know how you guys saw that room kind of shaking out, but Jonathan Cooper, though I have nothing against him, thought he played well. Certainly played great in that game 3. I didn't have him on my 53 originally, so.
I had him on my 53. Aaron Patrick was the guy that I was a little surprised seeing make the 53, but I wonder if that's another special teams move.
Yeah, for me, I think it was more about Randy Gregory on that weak side. The only other guy that really backing him up by position is Nick Bonito. I think you'd need Aaron Patrick in case you need to have him rotate out Bradley Chubb and Baron Browning kind of being on that strong side.
Right.
That was my thought behind it. That's why I had my lineup the way I did and leaving Jonathan Cooper out. Albert, you have Jonathan Cooper in or out?
I had him in.
Okay.
I liked it. I like Jonathan.
I'm the odd
Cooper.
man out on all these guys. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I like what he is bringing to the table. Can he use a little bit more experience? Absolutely, and pretty much they all can. But yeah, I had
Definitely
him
looks the part.
Yep, and he is quick, agile. Yeah, I really enjoy what Jonathan Cooper is doing.
I'm gonna let Albert finish the last name. Ioma
Who was Ricky?
Uwaziriki. He was kept though, but McTelvin Ajim was not. That was one of my surprises again. When looking at my roster compared to what shook out, that was one that I did not have. Where did you have Mr. Ioma?
I had him therein as number 4, number 5. I had
Okay.
him on my roster. I had Ajim as well.
Okay.
And, but I already had the ideas that he was going to let go anyway. He didn't play well the first 2 games. The last game he had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
But
No,
overall,
go ahead.
but overall, I don't think he fits the scheme that what they're playing now. The same
Yeah.
with Moody.
I kind of felt like maybe I just have a soft spot in my heart for Ajim. It was just a guy that I really kind of liked from the day we drafted him, so I was kind of hoping he was going to pull out. How about you? When it came to that defensive end position, did you have Ioma making it, Jody, as well? Am I the odd man out again?
I had him making it. I also had Ajim making it, but when you sit back and you look at some things, Moody gone, Ajim gone, are these Seth Williams? Those are Elway picks. Are they
Yes.
gone because Elway picked them and we're a new regime? I mean, I don't know. Some of it is questionable to me.
It certainly feels that way, man. It certainly feels that way. Maybe this is a complete move past that regime. I don't think you cut off your nose to spite your face, but at the same time, I think we have kind of moved on, and maybe these guys
Right.
don't evaluate the same. So I was kind of surprised too. I will say the one call I did have, at least with the initial 53, I know that there is, as you guys spoke of, word of bringing him back, but I had Mike Purcell not making this roster. I thought he would either get cut and or traded, hoping that we could get some trade value for him. He was released. He'll be hopefully coming back via practice squad, but I think that was my biggest surprise that not a lot of people had on their rosters. Did you have Mike Purcell making it, Albert?
Yes, I did.
Aha! And how about you, Jody?
I did.
I finally got a win. I finally win. You guys are like, oh yeah, Ioma, yeah, he's on mine. Jonathan Cooper, yeah, he's on mine. I'm like, no, he's not on mine, not on mine. Tyree Cleveland, Jalen Virgil, Brett Rippon. That rounds out, really. I did pretty well. I think I had a total of 4 or 5 guys then that I was wrong on. How did you guys shake out overall? Do you know, Jody, you got your numbers in front of you? How close was your 53 compared to... I'll let you do your math. I'll let Albert jump in here. How did you do?
I did pretty well. I had some people on the practice squad. So if we count
To
that,
be determined, huh?
To be determined. So in about 7. So not
Okay.
too bad.
Not bad at all, man.
I had 5. One we didn't really talk about. I did not have Turner Yell making the 53.
Oh, okay.
I
Very
thought they
good.
could stash him on the practice squad, but
I'll be honest, I was up and down on that. It was probably his final game that probably pushed me over the top again, why I kind of waited for that final preseason. He came up with some pretty good hits. Turner Yell made yours, Albert, or no?
Yes, he did. He did make it on mine. The thing is he has no problem tackling, and we have a couple of them that are a little bit reluctant in tackling, and I think we need a little bit more of the fierce competitors players in our field, and that they are not afraid.
Kareem Jackson was supposed to be the hammer guy. I'll be honest, some of the ways that Turner Yell was coming in that last preseason game reminded me more of Steve Atwater than Kareem Jackson ever had. So I will give you that. That guy has no care or concern for his body. He is throwing it in there 100%, man. It looked like old school days, man. It was kind of crazy.
I enjoyed that one.
yep.
Well, Jody, I'm gonna let you just hit this really quick. I think you're the man, the GM here. Again, just hit some of the roster spots that you want to see kind of, hopefully addressed in maybe the next coming days as all these other cuts happen throughout the league, and maybe some holes that we have in position groups.
On defense, from all reports, it sounds like Jonas Griffith's arm is healing a lot faster than what they thought. They never addressed linebacker at all. I mean, they did a couple days with Joe Schobert, and he was gone very quickly. So that's positive there. One concern I still think is cornerback. I mean, you've got 6 right now. Michael will go into IR. That leaves you with 5. And all reports you're going to play a lot of nickel and dime in this defense. So you're going to need all the defensive backs you can get. Then on the offensive side, really the only one that stood out to me was Moody. But it makes sense when he was the odd man out for an interior lineman when it came down to you've got to keep a backup if Turner's not ready at right tackle.
Makes sense. Well, hopefully, anything to add, Albert? I think that was a pretty good wrap-up myself, but head nod. We got an agree there from Albert.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we get. I think we got, as George Payton, I know that when he was in his press conference, I only got to catch a little part of it. Like he said, this was, I think, a very difficult year to make these a lot more difficult than it was the year before. I think we had better players up and down. Trying to get from 80 to 53 was kind of tough. And for all those guys who maybe don't make it back as a Denver Bronco, hopefully you catch on somewhere else. For all those guys who don't catch on with the 32 NFL teams, go out there and live your dreams in another league. Don't let it die. A lot of these guys are really young. I'm hoping for the best for them. So, anything else, guys, from the 53-man roster, man?
Any surprises league wide you've seen today that kind of shocked you a little bit?
Well, obviously the trade that happened between the Saints and the Eagles was kind of shocking. I didn't necessarily see that coming.
Yeah,
I
that was a
haven't been
steal
keeping my nose. I've been trying to keep my nose to the Broncos so tightly. I haven't watched the other 31 teams. You or Albert, anybody?
No, there were a couple that made me laugh. Alex Leatherwood, I mean, the first-round pick for the Raiders last year, he's already gone.
Man, that is a team that, again, has kind of been – those drafts they just did not do well at. You know,
but Denver's been there, done that, and seen Josh McDaniels trade away the farm and get rid of everyone. So
an old name that I saw come. Right? Go ahead.
Josh Daniels has done that before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just once.
Broncos fans witnessed that firsthand.
Oh, goodness.
I think another little sneaky pickup was the Ravens signing Kenyon Drake, the running back. I think he'll fit that system nicely. Yep,
100%. An old name that I saw that was released was Mario Edwards. One time just an elite pass rusher. Now in his twilight, was released by the Chicago Bears. So not a position of need for us, but just a name. You know, it happens this time of year. You have those names that end up getting passed on. You know,
O.J. Howard was one for me, the tight end from Buffalo. I thought he was still a playmaker, but obviously not. Too many playmakers in Buffalo. That team's loaded.
Agreed.
I also saw that Peterson was let go.
Yep. Quarterback Peterson. Yep. Was let go. Nathan Peterson. Yep. Thank you.
Nathan.
Yep. But yeah, not the big names like maybe we thought of, but at the same time, there were some big names already out there in free agents.
Were you surprised to see Philip Lindsay get cut? I mean, that's
well, why you got to bring that up, man? I always feel like the Philip Lindsay hater every time you bring someone brings this up, because I'm sorry. I know the guy was a Colorado guy. I know that he's the hometown kid. I know that he put up 1,000 yards. I know that he made a Pro Bowl. But literally, he cannot get and stay on a roster since. I don't think he's that great. I think it was just what ended up happening. It was.
I second that.
It was. I just. Thank you. I appreciate you seconding that, because again, I feel like I'm a big Philip Lindsay hater. Great kid. Love his story. Love his passion. Hope all the best for him. We don't need to bring him back.
You don't think he fit this scheme?
You know, I don't know if there's enough room. We'll just say there's not enough room. How's that, Albert? You know, he probably he's just yeah. Well, I'll do my best Jody impersonation. It's a numbers game. I'm just kidding. No.
I seen Marlon Mack got released today too from Tennessee. I was kind of surprised.
That is.
I mean, I was a little surprised to see him.
Marlon Mack, was he at Tennessee or was he at Texans?
Houston.
I think Houston. Yeah. I thought you said Tennessee for some reason.
He was in Indianapolis, and then
a lot of people thought that he was pushing for first string running back down in Houston. So that is a shock, man. Wow, surprises around the league. We're not left out, boys. I'll try to get caught up on a little bit of that. Maybe if I got a great idea, you know, Albert, you, Jody, you, I know even our Denver Bronco Roundup viewers probably know that Rocky Mountain Sports is an amazing network, but we are looking for more help. And maybe if we had a few more guys on staff, some guys like maybe our viewers out there right now that kept up on all this different stuff, they could be posting up the Rocky Mountain Sports Network page, giving you even more great content like you already get for all of your Colorado teams, your NCAA teams, your Denver Bronco teams, like the Denver Bronco Roundup. What I'm getting at is we are looking for some help in all different positions. So if you got the talent, you got the passion, go ahead. Contact Matt Staffiero over at the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. You can hit him up on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network page. I guess I left Jody up the entire time as I was looking at my script, so there you go, Jody. Hit him up over on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network page. He'd be glad to talk to you, see if you got the right skills to fit what we're looking for, and come be part of the team, man. Well, guys, I think we just have one last piece that we need to get to. A little Denver Broncos fantasy. Fantasy football is obviously kind of heating up. I know that I'm in a league or two which have already done their drafts. So maybe we're a little bit behind for a guy like me. Maybe I'm a guy that's looking on the waiver wire. But there's also a lot of people that are just going to get their drafts done in these next couple of weeks. Want to hit maybe some Denver Bronco players that are right for your fantasy football team. We'll start off with Albert. Albert, is there a guy that you feel should be ranked higher than the experts have him that is a Denver Bronco?
Yeah, I have two of them. And
what do you got, bud?
The two.
Give me one. Give me your best one. That way I can leave the other one for Jody in case he has it. How's that? Give me your best one.
Javonte Williams.
Okay.
And most of the rankings he is 15 or lower, and I think he should be in the top 5. I think he is a top 5 running back. So Javonte Williams, Pookie is too low.
A little more love for Pookie, as Albert says, man. So, Jody, you got anybody out there, a Denver Bronco, you think should be rated just a little bit higher than what experts have him out there for? I don't hear you, Jody.
Sorry, Cortland Sutton. I think he and Wilson were getting on, making a good connection through OTAs and mini camps, and I think Cortland Sutton is going to have a big year this year. He's Denver's true number 1. With Tim Patrick going down early, just solidified him as the true number 1. I look for a big year from Sutton.
All right, a couple of our big ones. We got Javonte Williams. We got Cortland Sutton as our maybe. Again, give him a little bit more credit than maybe the experts are giving out there. I'm gonna stay right on that train, boys. Maybe even take it a notch higher to Russell Wilson. He's rated 9th, 10th. Barely making the top third as far as quarterbacks are concerned. Especially in this scheme where we're not only running but we're using him on bootlegs, and we know that Russell Wilson can put some yardage up as far as that is concerned as well. I just look at Russell Wilson as better than what the experts have him. Now, I'm not saying he's a top 5 quarterback, but I think he should be a spot or two higher than what maybe we see out there. Boy, what do you guys think? I mean, am I way off base?
So I've seen his stat line. Would you be okay with 4,200 pass yards, 30 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions? If you could take that right now, would you take that?
I would take that right now.
Or would you risk it and go for more?
How many yards again?
4,200.
4,200? Because I think anymore quarterbacks are pushing closer to 5,000 on a good year, man. No, I'd probably take.
I 4,200 yards since what, Manning in 2014?
Well, of course not, man. If you're just going to bring up we haven't been good at quarterback since, of course we're going to go all the way back to Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? But literally, I mean, I guess I would take it, obviously. 4,200, 30 and 10. Albert, you taking 4,200, 30 and 10?
I think Russell will have more TDs.
Okay, so you're risking it?
Average 2. If he just just do touchdowns a game, and he's at 34. I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll
But
take
not
that all
one-
day because I think the running game is going to score a lot this year. They're going to, especially early in the season, they're going to run the ball heavy.
Yeah.
And I think you might have 2 running backs combined that go easily. I mean, they were 1,800 last year. There's no reason you don't see 2,000, 2,100 yards
Yeah.
Between
between the two
between
of them.
between the 3 of them, Russell, Pookie, and Melvin, 2,400 yards.
Yeah. Easy.
So if you get a big run game like that and those numbers from Russell Wilson, I'll take that all day. I mean, you're probably averaging 24 to 28 points a game, and that's going to put you in most games.
Yeah, sometimes you get wrapped up in those numbers and you want 10 sacks from every guy on your line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like, you're right. When you put this package all together, this running game, what Russell Wilson's going to bring to the table, I think we're sitting in pretty good position. Jody, I'm going to keep it with you. I just want to hit this really, get through last few. I know our show's run a little bit longer. A Denver Bronco that you would probably keep on your bench or just not draft just not draft or keep on your bench for the next few weeks. How's that?
Albert O. I
Good choice.
think Denver's going to, like I said, be run heavy in the first part of the season, and Russell Wilson has never been big on tight ends, so I think Albert O.
Albert O, does he get, getting real personal here? Not that I think Albert O is like tuned in at the moment. Are you drafting him, or are you just keeping on your bench?
No, I'll probably just keeping him on my bench.
Yep. Okay. And all right, we'll head over to Albert. What do you got, man?
I would keep Owuzariki on the bench for a little bit so that he can acclimatize to the game.
Do you play fantasy?
No.
Oh, okay. So scoring guys.
Scoring guys.
Running back, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks.
Let's see. Boone.
Yeah.
Because we have two great running backs already there, so I would bench Boone.
Bench Boone.
Do you see the defense scoring a lot this year, like turnovers and sacks and stuff like that? Where in last year it was bend, don't break.
With our edge rushes, secondary, I think the corner of the edge rushes probably we are rushing free pretty much all the time. I think so. There is pressure on the QB. They have to make mistakes. So and we have some very sharp and intelligent cornerbacks. Yeah, I see a lot of them.
It will be interesting, man. It'll be interesting to step up. I think that's what you're alluding to, Jody. I think that we're going to get a little more pressure. This defense could look a little bit better in the turnover game this year.
Right.
Are you in agreement with that? I think that's where you're leaning. Anything more to say on that guy?
100%. Where last year Vic was let the quarterback stand there for 20 seconds and dump it for 5. He was okay with that. Where we're going to be rushing the passer now, and we're going to take chances.
Yeah. My guy, go ahead, Albert. You might have one more.
Last year we were in the bottom 5 of interceptions or turnovers. I think we are going to be top 10 probably.
It'd be nice to have the turnaround. Again, I think we're going to get more pressure up front. I think we're already seeing some of that as we're starting to see more stunts up front and just some different looks that even in preseason that I don't even think we saw all last season. My guy that I'm going to keep on the bench until further notice is, and maybe I get burned, but I'm going to keep Mr. Jerry Jeudy on my bench until further notice. I just got to see this guy start to perform. I want to see it. I don't believe what I see in training camp necessarily, good nor bad. I want to see what happens on game day and, get 3 games underneath his belt, see what the stats kind of look like, decide whether you want to put him in from there. But for me, Jerry Jeudy, maybe just to slow down the hype train. I know that there's not a whole lot of wide receiver options in Denver. That doesn't necessarily mean that Judy's going to go off. So I would say just hold the reins on Jeudy at the moment.
One thing I'd like to see from Jeudy is like to see them put an end to this no touchdowns. I'd like to see him get that out of the way early in Seattle and in this he didn't have any touchdowns last year conversation.
100%.
Put that behind him. I mean, that's just one more thing that's in his mind of I'm a first-round pick. I scored no touchdowns. I was injured last year. Put one thing to bed quick.
100% agree, man. I will always say that we're doing a little bit of fantasy football right now. I'll throw all my fantasy wins out the window for a Denver Bronco win on Sunday. So I absolutely want to see that Jeudy gets off to a hot start. Like I said, may get burned. Hope I'm wrong, but for right now, that is just my gut feeling. All right, guys, last one when it comes to fantasy. I don't know who I had on the lineup. It looks like we have Albert starting this one off. Albert, you have to pick a fantasy player from an AFC West rival team. Who would you have the hardest time drafting from the Chiefs, Raiders, or Chargers?
That would be Derek Carr. Derek Carr, he is a very, very good quarterback, but he is the number 4 in our division.
Oh,
so
okay.
If I have to choose between any 4 of them, I would not pick Derek Carr.
You would hate to be forced to pick a Mr. Derek Carr. Jody, what AFC West rival?
Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, because I've said for the last couple of years that he's a stats guy and that's it. He has won nothing. And that's what fantasy's all about is stats. So I would have to eat my words a little bit.
Oh, so you just be biting your lip going, thank goodness I've got Justin Herbert, but dang it, I'm having to draft Justin Herbert.
Score me another 45 points and lose the football game.
There you go, buddy. I love it. Well, for me, there's just something about Travis Kelce, man. And that guy just gets underneath my skin. I don't like to see him in interviews. Maybe it's just all that red of the Kansas City Chiefs too is just wearing off on him, and I just have a hard time. I think I've even had him in a fantasy team in the past, but I tell you what, it just grits my teeth to draft him, and even further to put him in the lineup if I have any options. So.
One other guy that gets at me.
Mine's just a little more personal. Sorry, you guys are all like numbers based again. Thanks. So.
Mine's is Patrick Mahomes, and it's not so much him, but it's his wife and it's his brother.
I haven't seen the brother.
Oh, you gotta. I think it's Jackson Mahomes. You gotta look him up. I mean,
I'll do that.
He's really annoying on social media. And
on the social media, I'll give you. I'm not a big Patrick Mahomes' wife fan. She is good for some memes. I'll probably have to get those rolling again over on the Denver Bronco Roundup, though. So,
all right.
Well, let's finish this out, gentlemen. We're just over an hour, so let's wrap this up. Final thoughts. What do you got, Mr. Albert Knoppers?
I'm really excited for the season. I think we have a big chance of getting into the playoffs, and my prediction still stands. One of the 4 teams in the AFC West will be in the Super Bowl this year.
All right, man. Just another stoked day for Albert, getting all psyched up for Broncos country, making his predictions made already. We'll have to get a full prediction show. Jody, final thoughts, buddy.
I'm excited for Week 1. I'm excited to see Russell return to Seattle. I'm kind of glad we're not getting to see Locke in the revenge game. But that says a lot if you can't beat Geno Smith out in a competition. And I expect big things this year. I think you got some guys that now have a quarterback on the offensive side that are actually going to stay focused the whole game, and I expect big things.
Well, right on, man. My final thought. This is going to sound corny like a plug, but thank you guys. Jody and Albert is now making up the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. Albert was just brought on. Everyone saw him a few weeks ago, but this is the Denver Bronco Roundup. So my final thought is just some thanks to you guys. I'm really looking forward to this team, this podcast, all the fun things that we have planned, the exciting things that we'll have going forward. Next week, guys, not only for you, but for our viewers, of course, us being a Tuesday podcast, it's going to be our pregame show, so I'm going to be excited for that. We'll have to have everyone tune in. We'll be talking a lot about the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos. So thank you guys again so much. I appreciate you guys being on here with me. It's always great. It's always a good time. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to all our watchers, listeners, viewers, subscribers. Again, we're here every Tuesday, Denver Bronco Roundup, right here on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We really, truly appreciate all your follows, shares, likes, and subscribes. I guess one more last shameless plug. Head over to the Denver Bronco Roundup. We're giving away an autographed training camp T-shirt. Man, I don't know why I had such a hard time saying that. Autographed training camp T-shirt over on the Denver Bronco Roundup Facebook page. So go ahead and check us out over there. From all of us to all of you, have a great week. Mile high salute, and thank you all so much.